What's up guys, Peter here from Reviews on Anything. And right here I got my Reebok Crossfit Nano 5 shoes. Well used and abused, as you can see, as they should be. Now this is Reebok's CrossFit shoe, specifically designed for all kinds of CrossFit movements. And it's sort of a very well-rounded shoe that does a lot of things very well. But they've come up with number 6.0, the new version, with a very bright undersole, as you can see. Now this is obviously the next iteration, so they've made it better where possible. This is actually quite similar to the number 5, but with a number of small changes in order to boost the performance of the shoe even further. So we're going to take a close look at this grey and orange model, see what the differences are, and obviously I'm going to put them on, walk around a bit and tell you what's what. Alright, so here we are up close with the Reebok CrossFit Nano 6.0. which is obviously the successor to the 5.0. Now if you owned a shoe of the Nano line before, then this shoe will be instantly familiar to you, especially coming from the Nano 5. There's quite a lot of the same features going on, but they've made some incremental improvements where possible. So let's have a look around and see what's what. The first thing that stood out for me is that it's a lot less flashy. The 5.0 version that I had a lot of CrossFit everywhere, so it was a bit of a shouty shoe. Especially in this trim, I think it's a lot more understated, which is something I personally quite like. There's still obviously the CrossFit logo here on the back, but there's no CrossFit written all on bold letters around it, which is quite nice. There's also, hopefully you can see it on the light, Reebok CrossFit written inside. But that's really all the flashiness that you get, apart from the bright undersole, of course. Now, the first thing here is Kevlar. This shoe is made to last. Obviously CrossFit is a high demand activity and your shoes are going to suffer. So it's made with Kevlar in order to provide that longevity of your shoe. Especially here in the front, you can see an extra bit of padding and protection made out of Kevlar for all those burpees and all other things that you might be doing on the toes of your foot to make sure your shoe doesn't wear out here completely. Right off the bat. There's also some nice ventilation going on here, obviously, and as you can see, the front is just nicely rounded, so it's not a running shoe per se. That always has the little lip going over. On the side here, logo, not much going on there. The bottom of the shoe, obviously made for different disciplines. This is obviously the traction part that you get for sprinting, jumping and so on. Here you have a box that goes on here on the side as well, especially designed for rope climbing. Obviously you can see that the grippy bits here on the side and also on the side of the shoe. Actually this is a very rough extra piece of protection, so you can make those rope climbs more efficient, faster, without destroying your shoes, and actually utilizing the underside of the shoes in order to get up quicker. Then the back part, you can see that the squares here are quite a bit larger than on the front, because obviously this is the part that has to be structurally intact for all your squat and clean and jerk and other weight related activities. That actually continues here in the back. The heel is very stiff, very strong, and there's hardly any dampening here in the back. There's a little bit, but just the bare minimum, obviously, because when you're doing any kind of squat or clean and jerk or anything, you want a very stable platform, especially in the heel area. Job well done here. It's very stiff, very confidence inspiring, and you can make sure to do your deadlifts and squats and overhead work and everything with a lot of confidence that the shoe gives you. You stand very solid and you have a good solid platform to lift from. Then here on the back we have a little loop. Obviously that is to pull your shoes on a bit firmer and quicker without having to fully loosen everything going on in here, which is actually something we've seen on other Reebok shoes as well. So maybe they're actually implementing this across the board, which is something I actually quite like. Then moving on to the upper part of the shoe, the laces are a lot thicker and a bit less flat than the Nano 5s, which feels a bit more higher quality, so that is quite nice. On the inside here, hopefully you can see it, this yellow bit obviously connects the tongue of the shoe to the rest of the shoe. Now in the Nano 5 this was super tight, and actually I had some issues in the beginning to get my foot in properly. Here it's sort of a mesh-like material. I hope you can see it properly on camera. And it has a bit more stretch into it, so it actually makes it a lot easier to get the shoe on. and it actually makes it more comfortable because the material here on the top of the shoe, on the tongue, is a bit softer and a bit more pliable as well. So actually I found this shoe more comfortable than the Nano 5s that I owned before this. That is really all there is to see on the outside. Obviously you got the Nano 6 type designation back there, but that's really all it is. Now, what do we make of this shoe is the big question. I use this shoe in a variety of circumstances. Obviously I'm a personal trainer in daily life, and I like to train my clients outside. So that's usually where I wear this shoe. When I'm training myself, then I use it for really anything when I'm doing a full body workout. It is strong enough to withstand any kind of squats and overhead work thanks to the very fortified heel and the solid heel in the sole. It's good for short sprint work thanks to the traction pad here on the front. I don't really do any rope climbing, but when I tried it out with these shoes, you know, it's not the last word in grip on a rope, but it definitely gives you a little edge and makes it a bit easier to grip onto the rope, so that is a nice touch as well. And overall the shoe is very comfortable. It's like I said, when you're familiar with the other Nano products from earlier, you're definitely gonna be comfortable in this shoe right away. Now, Reebok makes a big deal about the toe box design. You can probably see that the lacing is not directly straight on the shoe, it's a bit off. And the toe box is actually something that they're really proud of, that your toes have room to expand here. That is important. It's actually an important thing to mention, because where all the tightness that you want in the heel is present, there is quite a lot of flexibility here in the front going on. So your toes can actually move around a bit, and you can imagine when you're squatting heavy weights, your foot expands a little bit, and it especially happens in the front of your foot. So that it is actually really comfortable to have that sort of variety here in the front of the shoe without compromising the stiffness and stability you want here in the rear, which is great. So anything from you know, jumping or pushing heavy weights, you get the stability here and you get the flexibility over here, which is actually quite nice. And thanks to the sort of softer, more pliable upper part of the shoe, overall you're going to be very comfortable regardless of what you're doing. I like these shoes a lot. Obviously they come not only in this gray and orange variation, but in a whole bunch of color options. So you can make sure to find something that matches your CrossFit outfit and your box logo. So that's quite nice, and there's something there for everybody. I quite like this sort of gray understated version, which is, I think, pretty stealthy and looks pretty cool in general. But the most important part is that it is a very functional shoe, and I think Reebok has done a great job in making a few little changes here and there, keeping the basic idea of the shoe alive, but improving it where they can. And I think it's a high quality product that will definitely survive all your workouts, and you can be happy to have this until version 7 comes out. This was Peter from Reviews on Anything with a look at the Reebok CrossFit Nano 6.0. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel, that helps us out a lot. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers!